Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Toronto. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth. I am joined by Hall of Famer Randy Buehler, and we are underway in our quarterfinal match here in the top 8. We've got Craig Wescoe, Pro Tour champion and newly locked Platinum Pro.
Yes.
Thanks for making the top 8. But he's got a little more work to do. I'll talk about that in a second, Randy. He's playing against Lucas Siow, Canadian Magic stalwart. He is GP champ. He's also multiple GP top 8er here for this tournament. So he's playing obs on mid-range. Craig Wescoe's on Light Green Company is the name we have. Talk to us a little about what he's up to.
Collected Company is the key spell. 3 and a green, instant. Look at your top 6 cards and put 2 creatures into play, as long as they're both cheap ones.
Yeah, converted mana costs 3 or less for those. And
yeah, it's not even that cheap. Cheap's not even the right word.
No, you get so much for 3 mana these days.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, a lot of people looked at that card and wondered if it was good enough. And Craig's like, you know what? I had this awesome Bant deck. Did great at the Pro Tour, and you know what? That Bant deck has got multiple copies in this top 8 that are basically Wescoe's PT deck.
Exactly.
He's on to the next thing.
One step ahead of the
really
metagame.
Impressive, actually.
Yeah, it's really impressive from Craig Wescoe. I mean, he does tend to play decks like this pretty consistently, so when the times pop up when they're good, you see him pop up with them. He's kind of along for the ride, but he finds really cool builds for these decks, and this one, we've seen him tear up control decks, and green-white decks aren't the normal deck that you would assume that would tear up a control deck, but this one can.
Yeah, no, it's green-white seemed to be the right color combination for this tournament. There are 7 different decks in this top 8 that are green-white decks. Like, some of them are Bant, some of them are Obzon, but they all overlap at Den Protector, Fleece Mane Lion, and Dromoka's Command. Those seem to be the cards that all 7 of those decks have in common. I mean, Windswept Heath too, but amongst the spells, it's those 3. I think it's only those 3.
A lot of Raptors floating around here too.
Some Raptors floating around, like some Siege Rhinos floating around. I mean, I think 4 of them are Siege Rhino decks. It's like 4 Obzon and 3 Bant. Or no, it's 4 Obzon, 2 Bant, and then Craig is, I guess, Celestia, technically.
That's right. So the first big play here for Lucas Siow is going to be a Siege Rhino. He did use a Bile-Blight to take out an opposing threat earlier in the game here. And there it is, Collective Company.
Let's see what we get.
On end step. And we've seen him hit some nice ones here. He bricked!
Oh my god!
0 for 6 did.
Now, I mean, 1 for 6 is
look at the smile on his face.
1 for 6 will come up. I mean, I think you're like, I've seen various math on these. I don't know, I haven't seen the math on Craig's deck, but it feels like you're in the, 70% likely to hit at least, to get double creatures. Like, you're going to get 2 creatures most of the time. But like, 0 for 6 is a really bad beat. You're up in the single-digit % chance.
Yeah, that's awful. We did see him hit 1 creature earlier in the game, though he technically hit 2. They were just both Brimaz.
That's not a great combo.
Not a great one.
Wow, that could totally swing this match. This board is completely different if Craig has like a Death Miss Raptor and anything. So technically he was only 0 for 5 since the courser told him what the top card was.
True. So I just did a quick count here of the number of Den Protectors in our top 8.
Okay.
It's 25.
25.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah, 3 of them are in Brad's sideboard, but all the rest
But he
are
regrets
main
that.
deck. He does?
Yeah, I heard.
He wants him in the main?
He believes that he's now confident they should be in the main deck. All right, this Collective Company seems a little better. Although Face Up Den Protector is not exactly a max value Den Protector.
No, it's not.
Yeah, this is all his response to a Thoughtseize. So Craig reveals a hand with 2 copies of Dromoka's Command.
One of them hits the bin, the other one gets to stay.
Yeah, Craig Wescoe has now clinched Platinum for the year, but still has plenty to play for in terms of a seat at the World Championships.
Yeah, so set the stage there. How does that work from Craig's perspective?
Well, from Craig's perspective, he's competing for one of the at-large bids right now. And he's also competing for the most points from Grand Prix uncapped bid. And
which is 1 seat at the World Championship. It's kind of a new one.
It's brand new this year. This will be the first year ever. But the pro point standings toward Player of the Year and Platinum status and all the at-large bids for Worlds, pretty much everywhere you're counting up pro points, you can only count results from 6 Grand Prix. Like, what are your best 6? But they have one special slot now, starting this year, for most points across all Grand Prix uncapped. That's a spot that is currently going to Pascal Maynard. And Craig is, I'll look up where Craig is. Craig came in 6th on 21 points. So by making the top 8, he's guaranteed at least 4 points. He's now in 2nd place, 1 point out of that spot. He's also moves up from the 25th guy to the 24th guy with his 1 point. He's now in Worlds, but he's the last guy to get into Worlds right now as an at-large.
And there's still multiple GPs and a PT to go.
All the guys on the bubble know they need more points. You cannot show up to Vancouver, collect 3 points, and expect to hold on to 23rd place. It's not happening.
Right, but he's in the fray.
He is in the fray on both lists right now.
Yeah, so he's still got a lot to play for, as well as, of course, the money in the trophy, that's the baseline, but Craig has a lot more riding on this tournament than just that. But the big step here, top 18, was huge for him. As a full-time professional Magic player, reaching platinum is really the goal, I think, for most of the players at the beginning of the season. Winning a Pro Tour would be awesome and all that stuff, but if you get to keep a platinum status, you get to keep making money playing Magic. And Craig has achieved that goal. Now, Lucas Siow has done a good job of controlling this board, but as you see, Craig Wescoe has built it out pretty decently here, as Lucas is clinging just to that Siege Rhino, but I think we might see Elspeth here. And there she is. Elspeth, Suns champion, hits the battlefield and is going to look to stabilize this board even further for Siow, who tends to play even his mid-range decks like this more as a control. He really is a patient player.
He's dedicated to value.
And he is
How many
a
copies
value
of Read the Bones
enthusiast.
are in this deck?
He loves Read the Bones.
It's not a card that most of the Obzons are playing. Not exactly the most aggressive way to build your Obzon deck, but all right. It's only one Read the Bones in the main, one in the sideboard. But it is a very Lucas Siow card. Craig, a member of the newest super team on the block. At this point, can we call Team Ultra Pro a super team? With the results they've put up?
Yeah.
They are arguably the best team for the last, basically this calendar year. The last 2 Pro Tours. They got 2nd place 2 Pro Tours ago. They got 4th place at the most recent Pro Tour. They had other guys in the top 16 both times. They had other guys in the money both times. Team Ultra Pro has absolutely been crushing it since coming together. And yeah, Craig is part of that new team. Probably the best team Craig's been on. And he's been on some good teams over the years, but not teams with,
He was on Team
3+
TCG
Hall of
player.
Famers.
Yeah, no, this was a big team for him for sure.
Shuffling away the Vermaz.
So double Siege Rhino plus Elspeth Suns champion and a slew of tokens here for Lucas Siow says that he's significantly ahead of where Wescoe's at in this game. Now Wescoe can grind, right? He can generate a lot of card advantage, but his deck is not terribly interactive. Your Dromicus command is about where it ends for him.
I don't know what he does about Elspeth.
Right.
He's not supposed to get stalled out to the point where Elspeth is just spitting out tokens and closing in on ultimate.
Right, and Elspeth really does leverage one of the downsides to a deck like Craig Wescoe's, which is it's quite low on evasion, right? It just doesn't do a great job of punching through a bunch of soldier tokens. Den Protector can get past those, but your monstrous Fleece main lines don't do that. A lot of the threats that Craig produces, like Death Mist Raptors and such, just don't get through soldier tokens.
Yeah, it's really just the Den Protector.
Yeah, Den
and if
Protector's
there's any
about
other
it.
creatures,
Right, like you see here.
Yeah, the Rhinos can block Den Protector even though all the soldiers can't.
And as you can see, Lucas Siow can just sit back and play for the long game, working Elspeth Suns champion up to ultimate range, pop the ultimate, and just smash Craig Wescoe in the air in one fell swoop. And Wescoe can't do a whole lot about it other than force Lucas to chump block with a token every turn with his Fleece Mane Lion. There's another Fleece Mane Lion, but again, Wescoe just needs this big punch, and he doesn't have it.
You know what else he doesn't have? No Glare of Heresy in the sideboard. Like, Elspeth's going to be a problem for him in future games as well. Lucas Siow can get the game to this state, Craig's deck is not well set up to fight.
Now in our side match next to them and in between games, we'll be checking in on them. We've got one Brad Nelson battling against Ben Feingersh. Ben was the one who kind of dominated the tournament all weekend long. Only picked up one loss, and it was after he had already locked his top 8 slot. And Brad, I mean, he crushed his tournament too. Let's make no mistake about it. Maybe we're just used to that by now, but that is definitely the case.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize this, but Bob Maher points out that Lucas Siow was on Team Ultra Pro for the Pro Tour where Justin got second. I missed that connection.
That's right. I remember that now. Yeah, it turns out when you have your team remote and you're doing testing over Facebook and Magic
call in
Online,
and join Magic Online from anywhere.
Yeah, Canada included. Lucas Siow safely at home up here, and he was able to contribute, I heard, quite a bit to that discussion. Lucas is the type that will, really figure out a deck, a matchup, a card, and then he's able to write coherent thoughts about it so that other people can digest those and not have to do the testing themselves as much. And that's super valuable when you're testing remotely.
Craig fighting a good fight here.
And it looks like Lucas has already anticipated such an attack.
Yeah. Rhino's got a block
den line up a whole bunch of chump blocks here, as well as Rhino eating Den Protector.
Oh, he can actually eat the Courser.
He can
trade two tokens
for a Courser here. Again, one of the downside that Craig Wescoe does face with his white-green build is that he doesn't have access to black, so all those removal spells are gone. No Siege Rhinos. He just doesn't have that big, that kind of angle that he can do, so he's just got to brute force his way through here. And right now, he's just trying to mitigate Lucas Siow's ability to kill him immediately by making him chump block with a bunch of these
it's totally the right attack from Craig. He needs to get those tokens involved in combat so that Elspeth's ultimate isn't immediately lethal. And Lucas has actually decided that he's willing to let a Courser come through for 2 damage because he's not ready to go ultimate with Elspeth anyway. He's got to build back his token board. So he actually quintuple blocked the 3/5 Courser rather than quadruple blocking the 2/4.
Again, patience is one of Lucas Siow's strengths as a player.
Story.
He is just not in a hurry here. And he doesn't have to be. I mean, he's got Elspeth Sun's Champion going, and Wescoe just doesn't have an answer for that card. Wescoe's only going to serve in there with the Fleece Mane Lion, prompting an immediate chump block, and there's Brimaz King of Varescos for Craig Wescoe to follow up, but it's kind of more of the same here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are, your classic kind of big dumb creatures that lumber around on the ground and do a great job.
Elspeth lives for this matchup.
Yeah, but Elspeth is just chewing this up.
This is the dream matchup for people with Elspeth in their deck. I mean, yeah, Craig's going to build up. The fact that he's got 2 indestructible creatures allows him, Lucas isn't pulling all that far ahead every time, but I don't know how Craig actually eventually breaks through. I'm sure if there's a combination of cards that does it, Craig knows about it. Just struggling to imagine what it actually is. All right, he's going to send in Brimaz. I mean, I guess he has to.
He's just got to keep mitigating the
so many creatures.
Numbers.
Like he killed more tokens than he lost, right? Last time.
But he's losing actual creatures, and there's there's an infinite supply of tokens behind that.
And
so it's just
kill somebody every time.
It's a time thing.
And he's still got the 4 tokens left for the Courser quadruple block. Yeah, I mean.
All right, so Lucas Siow still has his Elspeth Sun's Champion going, and he's whittled down Craig Wescoe's board to just a pair of Fleece Mane Lions.
Yeah. Everything else is dead. And just keep ticking up.
Attention players in the Super Sunday Series Seal. We had some medication turn in that was left at one of the tables. So if you're missing your medication and you're at the Super Sunday Seal event, you can check in with Lost and Found and pick that up.
Take a look at Lucas Siow deep in the tank here.
A lot of Canadian flags around, which is kind of cool. Everybody's obviously got pride trying to defend the home turf. Even the Maple Leaf Channel Fireball shirt.
Oh, if I know Canadians, yeah. They want to defend this home turf for sure. Canada is a very proud nation, and
a lot of cross Canadian rivalries. You know, the Edmonton.
Oh yeah,
Alberta,
I've heard about that.
Toronto. I mean,
Heard about that.
Vancouver.
That's a real
been good
thing.
back in the day.
All right, so finally Lucas Siow is going to pull the trigger on Elspeth here, which could signify that he's got another one.
Could.
It also could signify that he just wants to close the door on this game, and putting up huge flying siege rhinos is a good way to do it. I think this sets up a 2-turn kill for him.
Yeah.
Yes, it does in fact. So it looks like he says, look, I'm at 20, Craig. You can't kill my creatures, and you can't kill me in 1 turn, so I will put this to you, sir.
GL.
Yeah, do 23 to me, I dare you.
Yeah, block with my giant rhino.
Doesn't even have to.
Doesn't have to.
Yeah. Drops down to 14. 1 card in hand for Craig Wescoe, and this should do it.
I guess if he blocks, he can potentially get it killed by Dramaka's command.
Hot seas for good measure, and it's going to be collective company in response. But he's still just dead, right? I
think so.
don't think he has anything that can
I
block
don't think he
him
has
here.
any flyers.
Yeah, he might concede with searching on the stack here just to
Exactly.
not show him anything else. Little smirk there from Wescoe. And he's had enough. So Lucas Siow is going to win the first game of his quarterfinal match and get himself 1 step closer to the semis. It looks like our other match is currently shuffling as well.
They are also shuffling. Were we able to get any updates on the other tables? Certainly would love to know who's up over there.
From the big picture on what this tournament looks like now that we're in the top 8, lower left-hand quarters part of the match, part of the screen is what we were just watching. That's Lucas Siow versus Craig Wescoe. Up in the upper left there, we've got Ben Feingersh, and he's playing against Brad Nelson. They're shuffling. They have 1 game done. We're going to get an update on that in just a moment. Going across the other side, Daniel Fournier with Obzon mid-range is battling Mark Jacobson. There's another Canada versus America fight there.
Yeah, there may be lots of cross-Canada rivalries, but I'm pretty sure they're all united in not wanting this trophy to head to the States.
Agree. I think they would agree too. Got Edgar Magalis, and he is playing Mardu Dragons against Ben Whites, who's playing the same deck and flew up and everything with Mark Jacobson. They tested together, came up with this thing, and find themselves both in the top 8. Like you said, not that many Bant Megamorphs floating around, but the success level was quite high for those.
Yeah, the Mardu Dragons deck is pretty interesting too. I mean, I guess it's the outlier here. And the biggest story for me in this top 8 is what's not here. Where are the Esper Dragon decks?
They're gone, man. That was yesterday.
Where are
Try to keep up, Randy.
Where are the red aggro decks?
Standard moves quickly,
Remember
buddy.
Atarka's command?
Yeah, those are done.
That deck won the Pro Tour. That was like
I know. I can't believe
that
there's no control deck in the
or red. Those were the 3 most played decks coming out of day 1. Like there were definitely a lot of them on day 1, but like when you just lined it up, even coming into day 2, it was clearly Obzon aggro, red aggro, with the Tarkus command being in most of the decks. Most of them did have the green splash. And then Esper Dragons.
Yep.
Those were the big 3.
Yep.
Only Obzon aggro survived of those. And honestly, to me, it felt like Obzon aggro limped in. Is it only Brad that we're actually calling Obzon aggro? I guess on the bracket, Feingersh. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know whether to call these aggro, but
Looks like
Brad
Ben
felt like he was limping into a top 8 with bad matchups where he was going to be on the draw all the time.
All right, well, it looks like he's facing a mirror-ish here as Ben Feingersh finds himself up a game on Brad Nelson. So one to the good here for Ben. And that's a huge deal for him.
Okay, this is more Obzon Megamorph. I think, yeah, our bracket correctly has Ben as Obzon Megamorph rather than Obzon Aggro.
Okay.
He's on fully 4 Den Protector and 4 Death Mist Raptor. He does not have Rakshasa Death Dealer. He is
I'm willing to go with Megamorph on
rather
that one
than Aggro.
for sure, yeah.
So it's really only the one Obzon Aggro. So those big 3 archetypes, Brad sneaks in an 8th. It's the only X2-1 to get in.
You know, this could be quick here. I just saw Brad trade off his Fleece Main line and then play a Thoughtseize. I wonder if he's got another play here. He doesn't. He's stuck on 2 lands. He's got 4 or 5 cards in his hand, and Ben has nothing left going. So
he's got a Hero's Downfall, but
yeah,
he's kind of.
But Brad Nelson needs to find a land, and he can't. I see that he's got unoffensive, and I think he's got Siege Rhinos.
Yeah, but look,
here we go.
When it's Mana Flood against Mana Screw,
we know how that goes.
Mana Screw wins as soon as
Every
it draws
time.
out of it.
And he just did. So here's Obzon Charm for Feingersh, and Brad assumed, okay, well, you're going to kill my unoffensive. No. Drawing cards. He needs to find action is what he feels like.
The draw phase was a land.
And he thinks that he's going to get further ahead by drawing cards here. He's got the Hero's Downfall to take down on Offenza. Another land maybe for Brad?
I think it's Thoughtseize.
Interesting. And he's just going to replace it immediately with another copy of Unoffensive, which is also going to get eaten. So trading 1 for 1, but Brad has 5 spells in his hand.
Yeah,
5.
Ben had land.
And there's a land. Siege
Vile
Rhino?
Blight.
No, it's not Siege Rhino. It is Sorin Solemn Visitor. Let's get a vampire token, and I think that Brad is going to start slamming powerful spell after powerful spell while Ben Feingersh stares at his pile of lands here. Ooh, so Brad hit land, no land, land, and now he is fully charged up and ready to go here. That was a Bile Blight to take down
the vampire token.
The vampire on his main phase here. And Brad's got to decide what he wants to do. He has found another land. It's Temple of Malady.
Rise to the top.
Yeah, that's enough lands for now. Yeah, so you have to assume that he's got
it's a spell.
4 spells and another one on top of his library here.
And he's just trying to figure out how to sequence this. He's got a Siege Rhino. He could play that. He's also got a Thoughtseize. I don't know if he can Thoughtseize into a 3 mana.
And play a threat.
Yeah, it would have to involve 2 planes, so it seems.
I mean, it could just be something as simple as Thoughtseize plus, Fleece Main Line or something like that.
Well, he didn't have any 2-drops when he had 2 on turn 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. He's got another copy of Sorin.
I think it's Rhino, Sorin.
Yeah.
Thoughtseize.
So the real question here is just does he want to run the Rhino out or not? And it looks like he's going to cash in Sorin and maybe even just play another one. He is. Wow, really punishing Ben for firing off that Bile Blight here.
And Ben also went through Hero's Downfall.
That's true. Now he had to do that, but he did not have to main phase the Bile Blight. So a pair of vampires are threatening to do serious work here in the form of 6 damage right now. That's going to drop Ben down to 10, put Brad's life total to the sky.
The Siege Rhino is threatening a win next turn.
Yes. Wow. And Brad also can fire off the Thoughtseize here. Thoughtseize you, show you a forest, and here comes Siege Rhino. Now that he knows the coast is clear, he can win the game next turn if Ben doesn't draw anything of consequence. He drew a Siege Rhino. It still feels like he's too far behind. I don't actually know.
I kind of agree. It's not enough.
Still 6.
It means the game doesn't end on Brad's next turn.
No, but it does mean that Ben's going to fall down to dangerously low life and that Brad's Siege Rhino is going to win combat. So I don't think it's enough. It'll keep him alive, but only for a turn. He goes back up to 10 here. And never mind. Obzon Charm off the top is going to get that thing out of the way anyway. Let's get Sorin up to 4 and game 3. Brad Nelson, it's not going to be that easy. He's like, come on, man. You didn't think you were just going to 2-0 me, did you? So Brad Nelson evens things up in his quarterfinal match, and that sets the stage for a game 3 for them. We're back in game 2 over here. Early stages, Craig Wescoe versus Lucas Siow.
Craig on the play. Turn 1 Mystic into a Courser. It's a pretty good start. with 3 different names for the 3 Abzan decks we've seen so far in this top 8.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get to that Eskimo Snowflake level at some
This
time.
one's significantly different than the other 2.
This is Abzan Siow.
Yeah, this one's, you know, if you were to force
They
force
deserve
my
3
hand,
different names.
You know, this one's a little more on the control side, especially the way that Lucas plays it.
I don't actually like the use of the word control when it comes to Abzan decks.
I mean, he's looking to go
They're all
long game
mid-range.
and
That's a
generate.
mid-range deck. You're like,
Mid-range decks can be super aggressive if they need to. They can just like play a 2-drop and a 3-drop and beat you down. I don't know if Lucas's has that gear. Maybe it does.
he's playing the Rock.
The Rock, sure.
It's a mid-range deck.
Yeah, well, if you watch Lucas play it, he plays for the long game.
Oh, it's a grindy deck. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what tempo word we're supposed to use for like the grindy flavor of mid-range rather than the, you know, Brian Kibler flavor of mid-range is I think what you've got in mind.
But see, Kibler plays mid-range decks that can turn the
No, that's
tide
my
if
point.
needed.
That's my
And
point.
this, I don't know if Lucas's does.
We
that.
use the word mid-range for probably too many decks.
Maybe.
Like the Kibler style, I'm faster than the control. I can be a beatdown deck against control, and I can be a mid-range deck against beatdown. Like Kibler's only a mid-range deck against beatdown. He plays like an aggro deck when he's playing against control.
Exactly.
He's like, I don't know, 3 o'clock on the tempo dial versus the Rock, sort of grindy mid-range against everybody.
We're not using 3 o'clock. Remember, we're talking about like he's.
Oh, on a scale of Warden to Ugin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kibler's like a 3, and Lucas is like a 7.
So he's like a Brimaz.
He's like a
Kibler's
yeah, he's
like
a
a
Brimaz,
Brimaz?
absolutely,
Yeah.
or Fleecebane Lion even.
Yeah.
It's not quite Warden of the First Tree. Or is that a scale from 1 to 8? It's probably a scale from 1 to 8. Now I get it. Now we can just start dropping all kinds of crazy, obscure creature references. Brimaz is a 3.
Yep.
Siege Rhino's right in the middle at 4.
Yep. All right, so creeping upwards on life total thanks to that Courser of Crewfix is Craig Wescoe. He's going to bash for a couple of damage here, but he's got a play lined up, and it looks like it's going to be a Death Mist Raptor. He's also left up 2 mana to spare, which could be Dromica's Command. I see he's got a Valorous stance. I think he actually just has both.
What he's got mostly is an Elvish Mystic on the play.
How about Siege Rhino?
Yeah, Lucas is
going to jump up.
trying to keep up with
16.
Elvish Mystic on the play.
Yeah, but I think the Valorous stance is just going to take care of business here.
And, well, it's the power of Elvish Mystic on the play.
There it goes.
You get 6 power worth of creatures in play by your 4th turn and still have 2 mana left over for Valorous stance.
And there's a Den Protector off the top of Fleecebane Lion in the weights here as well. And yeah, Craig Wescoe really seems to be leveraging the raw power of an Elvish Mystic here
color
to get
with
too
mana.
far ahead too quickly.
I didn't realize Craig had Mana Confluence.
Wow,
It's
that
2
is
color.
that is conservative.
2 color, but Mana Confluence. Does he not have temples? Just doesn't want lands to come into play tapped? No, he does have temples. 2. It's only 2 Mana Confluence. I guess it's just he drew both of them this draw. So he's 4 Heath, 4 Temple, Plains Forests, and then a couple bonus fetch lands just because you want to reshuffle with Courser, and 2 copies of Mana Confluence, both of which he happens to have drawn this game.
All right, Wescoe's going to rumble with the whole squad here. That's 6 damage, dropping Siow back down to 10. He gained life from the Siege Rhino to help buffer this a bit. And there's that Den Protector is going to be face down as a Morphin. Once again, you see that Craig has left up the mana so that he can flip it back face up again. Now his graveyard becomes kind of like a toolbox here where if Lucas's plan is to play another big creature like another Siege Rhino, he can get back the Valorous stance and kill it. It's pretty cool. Den Protector definitely, you know, it's been around. It's hard to call it like a breakout card because it has been in Standard, but this is like its coming out party, right? I mean,
Den Protector,
yeah, 25.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, I've seen a fair amount of it the last couple of weeks. I feel like Den Protector has had a breakout weekend each of the last 3 weekends. Ooh, Crux of Fate. That's
Hello.
a magic card.
Crux of Fate is going to prompt Craig Wescoe here to flip up that Den Protector. He's going to point out that he's going to use his Mana Confluence as black mana from Urborg, so he's not going to take a point of damage. He's going to get something back from his yard. believe he's still deciding what he's getting back. He's going to get back the Valorous stance now, which unfortunately he can't cast here because he's tapped out. So everything's going to hit the bin. But again, he did just put a Raptor in there, so any future Megamorphs are going to be good to go there. Though his hand actually looks not that great. He's got a Fleece Mane Lion that he just drew. Lucas Siow knows that that's coming. Otherwise, he's just got another Mana Confluence and the Valorous stance that he got back.
Yep.
Not a lot of heat here, really. Deciding if he wants to play the Confluence or not, and he's going to go ahead and run it out there. It's still not quite enough to get monstrous on Fleece Mane Lion. So the door's open here for Siow to play something big. If he's got a land, maybe an Elspeth, this could be the turn for that.
I find Lucas's choice of Crux of Fate really interesting. A lot of the Obzon mid-range decks, the ones that sort of skew toward control, the ones that we could call, if we were going to call anything an Obzon control deck, it would be the deck Lucas has. They've tended to have end hostilities as the sweeper. Right?
Yes.
Lucas has gone to Crux of Fate, presumably because he can name dragons sometimes and keep his side of the board.
Oh, interesting. If he faces down the Esper Dragons list, he can take out a dragon or two and keep the Siege Rhinos alive.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be just as good of a sweeper against any kind of, the green-white, like if the Devotion decks that don't really get played much anymore. But I mean, that was where your Obzon deck really needed a sweeper. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, even these Megamorph lists that can just kind of flood the board with random dorks. Crux of Fate's just as good as end hostilities there. I mean, sometimes you name dragons and it's one-sided.
Okay, so Siow is going to take care of the Fleece Mane Lion while the shields are relatively down here with the Dromica's command. And leave the boards empty on both sides of the battlefield here. Craig has some really powerful top decks if he gets lucky, and that might have been one of them. If that's a Den Protector,
gigantic.
he can flip this up, get back the Raptor, get back his other Den Protector, and
That
just go to
is
town
gigantic.
here. Now, if that's a Raptor, he gets back the Raptor too. Doesn't get
Yeah,
to quite to
still
get
good
off
enough.
to go off as much, but it's good. Yeah,
It's good enough. It'll be a 4-power Death Toucher,
Mm-hmm.
bringing back the 3-power Death Toucher.
Yeah, which looks great against the 2/4 Courser of Crufix. So let's see what you got down there, Craig. Yeah, it looks like it is a Den Protector indeed. Bang! Den
A good
Protector.
draw.
Get back Death Mist Raptor to the battlefield. And does he want to go for the longer game and get back his other Den Protector, or does he want something with a little more pop right now? He's got Lucas down to 14, but it does feel like it's going to be tough for him to just close out this game immediately, so he might want to grind. Yeah, he's going to take the other Den Protector. So he can hit for 6 here freely.
Yeah, 3/2 Den Protector
Yeah,
cannot be blocked by Courser.
Best case for Lucas Siow is to chump block the Raptor, which is a horrible spot to be in. And there it is, the other Den Protector. And you know what? Waste no time, Craig Wescoe. Just go off right now. He's going to get back Valorous Stance, which can actually just get rid of the Courser immediately. Wow. So he's going to stop any extra cards that Lucas Siow could have, as that's his best threat. He knows that the best thing he can do is draw the Den Protector next turn. He's got an unknown card in hand, but in the meantime, crunch in for 6. And it was Murderous Cut for the last card, which is going to take down the other Den Protector and mean that he's only going to take 3 damage this turn, but he is facing 6. But that's a good top deck, right? You know, knowing that you're going to pick up a Den Protector off the top of your deck means he's effectively drawing 2 cards here. So
I mean, and presumably he can set up another Crux of Fate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably the way you recover from this, right? Force Craig to top deck another Morph.
Yeah, but this is where like Collective Company or something could be huge too. But yeah, I like what you're saying. You got to force Craig to come up with something big.
How does Lucas get back into this game? I mean, you flip Den Protector, probably block flip, trading the Den Protector for one of those creatures and getting back a Crux. Does that do it? Maybe since Craig will be down.
He has to flip it before blocks if he wants to block the Protector. But it's the same play either way. So he's going to do that. Now this is actually quite interesting because
Yeah.
this is pre-blocks, and Siow has to now show Craig exactly what he's getting back. And it was
Courser?
Courser of Crewfix is what he decided to get
That
back
is a man
to.
who's dedicated to value. Don't want the Siege Rhino. Don't want the removal spell for your Deathmist Raptor.
Gotta respect that.
I want Courser of Crufix.
And hope that Craig didn't draw. Well, Collective Company at this point is the one that he really doesn't want to see.
Yeah.
All right, so Courser's back, and it reveals a good one. Remember, Lucas Siow is up a game in this match, looking to make it to the semifinals.
And up a game based almost entirely on Elspeth.
Yes. Deathmist Raptor untaps, no Collective Company for Wescoe. I think he's just got a pair of lands in his hand.
I think that was Craig pointing out to Lucas that he could sack his Windswept Teeth if he wanted to.
Is that what he reached over for?
I mean, I saw the pen
I
direct
did
gesture
too.
toward the Windswept
I
Teeth.
assumed he had
I think it
he had gained
I think
a
it
life
was-
or something.
No. I think he was encouraging Lucas to activate it.
Yeah, Craig's very helpful. He'll help you out. Teach him a lesson about thinning his deck. Okay, there it is. Elspeth, Sun's Champion, into hand for Lucas
Wow.
Siow.
Into downfall.
And another good spell on the top there in the form of Hero's Downfall, but
Lucas
this could
just
just
wins,
be it.
right?
Yeah, this could just be it. I mean, now the draws that Craig Wescoe can hit are much narrower and have to happen almost immediately. You know, Collective Company, again, is another card he can hit a couple of Den Protectors or something. And
Why did people stop playing Elspeth again?
no kidding, look at this. Elspeth just chews up these mid-range decks. Now the ones that have Hero's Downfall, you know, can get away with a light scathing, but Craig Wescoe's deck just gets rocked here.
Well, at least he clinched platinum. And technically, he shifted
Randy.
from 25th to 24th for the current world spot. Jelger Vigersma is the new 25th below the bubble. Although again, the Pro Tour will move the numbers around enough that this current bubble isn't the most important part.
Is that a Mastery of the Unseen off the top for Wescoe?
Is it really? Now that's the kind of card
Now that would be
Craig can actually
one of
use
those
to keep
action
up.
spells. It is.
Jeez.
Mastery of the Unseen. Now it's still quite slow against Elspeth, right?
Is he at 2 activations yet, or just 1? He's at 2 when he
He's got
untaps.
2, but yeah, only 1 for this turn cycle. Whew. This could get interesting. We saw him bash his creatures into Elspeth tokens just to try to keep Elspeth from going ultimate for a couple of extra turns, which worked. But it only bought him a little bit of extra time as Lucas was able to close out that first game thanks to Elspeth Sun's Champion.
Emerson Spats, your booster grabs is looking for you. Emerson Spats, please report back to your booster grabs.
Mastery.
Hero's Downfall is going to take down the face down creature, and it looks like Lucas Siow is taking the fight to Wescoe here. You know, he realized that Master of the Unseen can take over in the late game, and he's going to put the heat on him. All right, so it looks like Craig has played a Courser of Crewfix here. We've got a few updates from our side tables too.
Yeah, it sounds like Mardu Dragons is in fact through to the semis. Edgar Magalheis took down Ben White's, so that's one of the Bant Megamorph decks out, and Mardu Dragons will play on. That is the one result that's through.
Yeah, I see that Mark Jacobson and Daniel Fournier are going to a game 3.
Indeed.
To decide theirs. Now we're still in game 2 here on our main match, and we've got a bit of a mid-range slugfest on our hands here as Master of the Unseen is going up against Elspeth, Sun's champion. And they're trying to go toe-to-toe with Lucas Siow falling all the way down to 6. Craig Wescoe at 10. And here's a Dromica's command on top of the library for Siow, who just drew. Oh, boy. Siow kind of made a move, but now he's thinking about what he actually wants to do here. And he's attacking. Lucas Siow is taking it right to Craig Wescoe here. He is going to try to mitigate that Master of the Unseen as much as possible. And one creature on each of the tokens here means that Wescoe is going to take 4 damage, dropping down to 6. He does get to keep his creatures currently, though. And there's Plile Blight, which is going to finish off the Courser of Krufix here. Took 1 damage, and it's going to die. The other Courser does shrink down, but 4 toughness means it's going to survive. Elspeth, Sun's champion, creating even more. I can't quite see the dice and how many loyalty counter we're up to on Elspeth there.
Craig knows he doesn't want to draw that card.
Right,
so.
he didn't want to draw that card, so that was an upkeep activation, right?
Yep.
Is it 7 counters on Elspeth?
Yep.
Okay, that means we're at ultimate range here. And this game could just be over next turn. Lucas is going to double block the Manifest and single block the Death Mist Raptor here that are both attacking, presumably Elspeth, either way.
Presumably.
And that's going to clear away some of those tokens, but still leave Craig Wescoe in a terrible position here if he doesn't have anything to interact, and I believe Lucas knows. Turn goes back to Siow, and Siow can go ultimate kill you here.
Would the life gain from the Manifest be good enough?
We would gain 2 and put him up to 8, which
So
would still not be
3,
good
6,
enough.
10. If he can Manifest and then flip an Elvish Mystic?
Yes, then that would gain him 3 life, put him to 9, still dead. You know, if he killed one of the soldiers, that would do that would get him out of range.
What's he killing a soldier with?
Dromica's command.
Sure.
You know, that still actually doesn't even do it. Just the Courser and the soldier. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Lucas, not interested in going for anything.
You know, I just don't.
Why win the game when you can kind of hang out?
Yeah, I don't
play
think
some
he
more
has
Magic.
There's no incentive really for him to go for it here, right? All right, and there's Dromica's command, which is going to take out the Manifest here. And it's also going to take out the Master of the Unseen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sacrifice an enchantment.
That's right. So that plan is gone, and now Lucas has really got Craig Wescoe completely up against the ropes. This game is going to be over next turn. That is, if Craig doesn't concede. This thing should about be in the books, and I think we're going to see Lucas advance to the semifinals here past Wescoe.
Looking like.
Wescoe's going to fight the good fight here, but
good tournament for Craig. Mission accomplished in terms of clinching platinum. Had to take out a teammate for top 8, but it's kind of mission accomplished for Paul Rietzel too. I think if you told him before he got here he could have 3 pro points and go home, he would have taken it.
For Rietzel?
For Rietzel, yeah.
That's who he lost to. That's who
Craig had to beat his teammate Paul Rietzel in the last round, but kind of mission accomplished for Paul anyway. Just to get 12-3, I think was a successful tournament for Paul. Could have been more successful, but you know what I mean.
So Lucas is in finish him mode as he's just lining up these last few blocks here.
Yeah, I mean, Craig's obliged to try to chip away at Elspeth's loyalty. Doesn't actually work.
Another update from our back table. Mark Jacobson advances past Daniel Fournier. So we've got Mark Jacobson and Edgar Magales in
that's Bant
the
Megamorph?
finals. That's Bant. Yeah, the other one lost.
Which just lost to Mardu Dragons.
That's right.
Those Bant Megamorph guys may not have thought enough about their Mardu Dragons matchup. It's going to slaughter them in the top 8.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the big hitters.
Definitely not. Elspeth Emblem Flyers, right, Craig? You got anything left?
Well, he's got a little speech for him here, but...
speech and a smile? A collective company?
It could be a collective company, and it's a forest that's going to do it. Lucas Siow advances to the semifinals. He's through. And that just leaves the one match left. Are they still playing over there? We'll jump over if they are. Brad Nelson versus Ben Feingersh. If they're still playing, we're going to jump on. Otherwise, we're going to get you an update. To fill out the rest of the bracket, you can see there, Edgar and Mark on the other side are going to meet in the semis to play the winner of Lucas Siow versus either Ben or Brad. And they're still going here.
Wow.
So we get a game 3. Brad Nelson sitting at 21 life with a great-looking board state here.
Yeah, except for the end hostilities that's on top of his opponent's library.
Just sitting there waiting. Though I will assume that the Fleece main line has been monstrous. It has 2 counters on it. One's probably from Monstrous, the other one's from Adromachus Command. That's what you usually see. And has Ben actually just played the Siege Rhino here?
Yes.
Okay. Siege Rhino not... Oh, I see. So Ben's also got a monstrous Fleece main line? Is that what we're looking at? Because that would basically say, okay, the Fleece mates bounce off each other and the Siege Rhinos bounce off each other. I think there's a Sorin up top, though, there for Brad just off camera.
Yeah, I see something with a die on it above the Den Protector.
Yeah.
And a morph for Brad, which is probably a Den Protector. I think it has to be a Den Protector.
Yeah, he's got 3 of those in the sideboard, brings them in here.
Brings them in all the time now.
He's jealous of everybody else in the top 8 that has them in the main outside of Edgar.
He's the only one that has them in the sideboard. The other 6 Den Protector decks have them in the main. I think this is a case of great player with not quite optimal deck, although very good deck. He's the last Abzan aggro deck standing.
Sorin Solemn Visitor, did that just go ultimate?
Is that a 6?
I think he just ultimated Sorin.
Wow.
That is going to get him the win in just a couple of turns if that's the case. And now we're Den Protector in for Den Protector.
Wow.
Brad Nelson just going to town here.
Brad Nelson, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
Is there an emblem?
There
emblem
is a
has arrived. So emblem says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. And Ben is going to have a very difficult time keeping up with that.
Indeed.
It's going to start chewing through, and all of his creatures are important right now, too. There's not one that Ben wants to sacrifice and just goes, yeah, whatever. They're all pretty important here.
Siege Rhino is apparently the least important.
Not often that that's the case.
True.
Now, how long can Ben stay alive for here? That's the question. He's got a Bio Blight. That's going to take out both Den Protectors here. Brad knew that that was coming.
Today, 50 players, your final standings will be posted momentarily on the accounting board.
There's a Fleece Mane Lion now for Nelson. He can play that and Monster Sit in the same turn.
He's also got a Den Protector in his hand and go start slowly getting back all the Den Protectors from his yard.
That is a big Fleece Mane Lion. He's just going to attack with both. That means that Ben's going to have to take 4 here, dropping down to 13. Ben doesn't actually lose a creature in this exchange, but he will on his upkeep. And I think this is going to be Fleece Mane. And
Sorin Emblem.
Sorin Emblem plus 2 monstrous Fleece Mane Lions seems like the winning combination here for Brad Nelson.
Yes, it does. Sorin Emblem
Yes.
to make the semis.
Yes. That's tough too, because Ben's deck can put out a whole heck of a lot of creatures. You know, it's not like, you know, sometimes you stick a Sorin against a control deck and it's kind of a matter of do they find the hero's downfall in time or not, because they can't pressure it with creatures very often, but this deck totally can, and Sorin just ticked right up. So Ben's down to just a
I'm
Fleece
trying to
Mane
draw
Lion
2,
now.
a land, and a Deathness Raptor.
It's about average.
Face down Deathness Raptor, representing a Den Protector.
Brad Nelson continues his march forward here. You got to feel like inevitability is on his side. That Sorin Emblem's just going to wreck Ben Feingersh's board. Now, Ben doesn't have a card like Elspeth, does he? Because that's the kind of card that can really put a hurting on an emblem like that.
It's got an Ugin in his sideboard. Does Ugin remove emblems?
No.
What removes emblems?
No. That card hasn't seen print yet. Emblems are supposed to be untouchable. Ben's going to block and take 4 from the other Fleece Mane Lion. Brad wants to keep adding to his board, though. Ben wants to take a quick browse of the graveyard, though, for Brad Nelson. Because he feels like that Den Protector is coming up. And Brad just says go. All right, upkeep time. What are you going to lose? Looks like he might be flipping up the Deathness Raptor. Maybe if he's got another one.
Oh, if he's got another one, sure.
He does.
Deathness Raptor
No,
flips.
and he could put that one in face down, right?
Oh, hilarious. He can now spend 5 mana to offset the emblem. So for 5 mana a turn, he can offset the emblem. Yeah, it brings one of them back untapped. Now he still has to sack a creature to the emblem.
He's got to sack a creature here, though. Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Still has to sack a creature to the emblem.
Yeah, Brad says, wait a minute, you never sacked one. Okay, there we go. So one of them came back face down. The other one came back and died. And now we've got the other one face up. And this is a cool interaction that I didn't think I was going to see here. Sorin Emblem versus triple Deathness Raptor. And now there's a Siege Rhino for Ben. What is going on here?
What is going on?
You know, that inevitability looks a lot less good than it did a minute ago,
Brad
thanks to the triple
Sorin
Deathness.
Emblem and 2 monstrous Fleece Mane Lions.
And he feels like he just fell behind that turn somehow.
It does feel that way. Is that actually true?
Now we're going to sit here and find out, I'll tell you that. Deathness Raptor. 3 of them. This is game 3. This is to make it into the semis here.
Yes, it is. Brad doesn't have a good attack. Barring a card. I mean, he does have a Den Protector.
Yes.
Does he have a way to kill the face-down Raptor? So if he kills the face-down Raptor, then the recursion stops.
Yeah, then it makes Ben
sack something else.
Find another morph, basically.
While Sorin Emblem is eating away at his board.
Yes, and that's TikTok for sure.
I mean, I think Brad's plan with these Den Protectors was to just get Den Protector into Den Protector into Den Protector into something.
Mm-hmm. But he might have to curb that and get a
certainly worried about it all of a sudden.
There it is.
Charm.
But that doesn't actually kill the face-down creature here. Is he just going to draw some cards?
Why wouldn't you just draw a Den Protector if that's what your plan is?
Because he wants to find a removal spell, maybe.
Well, he could use Abzan Charm on face-up Death Mist or the Sea Trino.
That would get rid of the Death Mist permanently since it exiles, but there's still another one in the yard.
Right, but it might set him up to attack.
Okay.
I mean, the problem on this board is that there's a Monstrous Fleece main that can bounce one of Brad's Fleece mains. There's a Siege Rhino which can block the 4/4/1. But that Death Toucher is set to trade with the Rhino and then come back to the...
Yeah, this is a tough spot. You can see that Brad is hemming and hawing pretty hard here about what he should even get back with this
I think you just get Den Protector. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to grind for a couple of turns. Like, Brad can actually main phase Den Protector, then play another Den Protector, right? He can go through.
He doesn't have enough mana to flip the second one currently.
But he's 1 mana away.
He's only 1 mana away, which he doesn't have.
Comes into play tapped. Was that Scry to the top real quick?
Yes, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Brad has an attack this turn, but the thing is, while Ben has stopped the bleeding from that Sorin Emblem, he's not actually turning a profit. Right, he's just cycling 2 Death Mists right now.
It's true.
He only turns a profit.
And look what he's done. Look what Brad's done.
Charm.
He put 2 counters on his Den Protector.
Very nice. Now it's a 5-power Den Protector.
And nothing on Ben's side can block that.
And guess what Ben's life total is now?
Yeah, that's a 2-turn clock right there. So half your life in one big chunk, and now Ben has far fewer top decks. Now he needs to gain some life or kill that Den Protector immediately, or the game's going to end. I like what Brad's done here.
Yeah, that's a great line.
He's just getting around this whole thing entirely, because the one thing about the Death Mist Raptor plan is that it's slow, right?
Yeah.
It's chewing up a bunch of Ben's mana.
And it's not like Ben has good attacks,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Brad's
not
got
getting
2
ahead.
Monstrous Fleece main to go with his Rhino.
This is so sweet.
You can pick them up at the main stage. If you play with an event, you are entitled to a prize. So if you haven't picked it up, please come up to the stage and claim your prize.
Okay, so upkeep happens. Death Mist Raptor goes down. This is a big top deck here.
Ben didn't want to spend the 5 mana upkeep. It doesn't really accomplish a whole lot to do it.
No, he'd rather just have that Death Mist Raptor in the yard.
Right, it'll come back.
Yeah, that's the one he's getting back.
Yeah, so he doesn't even have to spend the 5 mana every turn. He has to spend the 5 mana every other turn.
Yeah.
Hilariously. But
And Ben's passed the turn back. Let's see what
does
he
he
drew.
have an answer to 5-power Den Protector?
Thoughtseize. We're going to find out right now, and he
He
did!
top decked Abzan Charm.
But he's got another Abzan Charm, this Brad Nelson, and he is going to win this match and advance to the semis. What a great finish.
Wow.
Brad Nelson, the master of standard, he is
That
going to
dude
face
can play
down
some Magic.
Lucas Siow. That's going to be our Table A feature match.
Oh, for sure.
And then in our side table, we're going to have another camera watching Mark Jacobson and Edgar Magalius. And this is going to be a great finish here. I wonder if Brad can finish this thing off. I mean, he needed a Sorin Emblem.
But that wasn't good enough.
And there was more, yeah. So
He had to
fantastic
Abzan Charm
stuff.
to create a giant unblockable Den Protector. Card does everything. He should put that card in the main deck.
You're really out on a limb there, Bueller.
Everybody else is
Everybody
doing it.
else in the top
Give
eight
him
has
the
it.
peer pressure.
Now, the one not Den Protector deck is still alive.
Yeah,
That's
Marty
Edgar's
Dragons.
deck there, Marty Dragons. So we'll see what that does too. But I think the point has been made about Den Protector and how much you should play it in Standard right now. Are there any great ways to interact with the graveyard in Standard?
Well, I mean, on Offensive, it gives you some game. Like, you get this 4/4 for 3 that you kind of wanted to play anyway that at least shuts down some of that recursion. Only the creature side of it, though, not really the regrowth side of it. see
All right,
people.
so I think we're just going to take a quick break here to swap out commentators while our players get seated, but we'll be back in just a few minutes here to bring you the semifinals from Toronto. Don't go anywhere.